can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
One of our biggest problems today is that we are afraid to have others challenge our mindset, and therefore we avoid topics that can lead to challenging conversations. At a young certain topics can render yourself unable to talk to friends, coworkers, or even family. To avoid challenging conversations is the same as to keep your mind trapped in a little box. Open your box and start having more civic conversations.
Civility. It's an American thing. From AmericanThing.org.
In Africa, 5-year-old Chiru has no choice. She and millions like her must walk miles every day for dirty water. But together, we can end their walk by providing clean water close by. Instead of spending hours walking to get water that makes them sick, girls can be in a classroom that expands their minds, and moms will gain back time to care for their families. Sons and daughters can grow up strong, finally free of sicknesses caused by dirty water. At World Vision, care about clean water runs deep. Deep enough to reach one new person with clean water every 10 seconds. Because every child, every person, everywhere deserves clean water and a chance to rise to their full potential. It's true. When you just add water, you change a life. Learn more at worldvision.org.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And have a most excellent New Year.
Excellent.
From the Zone.
From the Zone. It's Christmas.
This is KZ&E College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, this is a news update on the Zone. The Bryan Firefighters Union's being given more time to negotiate a new contract. City Manager Keene Register tells WTAW News that the New Year's Eve deadline's been extended by 30 days. It's after Register rejected a proposal submitted on behalf of the union's 145 members that would have, among other things, paid off-duty firefighters while conducting union business and eliminating the city's no-tolerance drug and alcohol policy while firefighters are at work. City of Bryan getting an additional $900,000 in its general fund. It's after the City Council during this month's meeting approved without public comment to sell a vacant BTU building on South Main across from Sale Park. College Station Property Group, which paid $1,000 above the asking price, intends to develop a retail business, possibly a restaurant. Building became vacant when BTU moved its meter shop to its building on Fountain Avenue. Public comments were made at this month's College Station ISD School Board meeting from two members of the Consolidated High School Athletics Booster Club. Both were dissatisfied with the lack of action by board members and administrators on addressing athletic facilities. Wendy Latendry says CSISD voters need to hear that as often as they hear the board and administration talk about expanding College Station High School.
I am asking for you to be the champion for Consol and to present a plan to the voters in 2023 to address the inequities.
By state law, board members are not allowed to respond to remarks from the members of the Consolidated Tiger Club. 2 inmates in the Brazos County Juvenile Detention Center were moved to the adult jail on Christmas Eve. It's after a security officer in juvenile detention was assaulted. According to the arrest report from the sheriff's office, video confirmed one of the inmates picking up the officer and slamming him to the floor, resulting in a knee injury. 17-year-old Patrick Tennell Jr. of Bryan arrested for assaulting a public servant. 18-year-old Mike Epperson of College Station charged with harassment. Both are also being held for state juvenile detention authorities. That's a news update on the Zone.
Texas heat, humidity, not to mention the multiple hail and windstorms. Most roofs don't last their full lifetime. But since 2006, AmeriStarRoofing.com has been helping Texans protect their homes from age and storm-related damages. And they have multiple adjusters on staff working directly with your insurance company to ensure that you get the coverage you need to make your home look new again. Call Ameristar Roofing now to schedule your free roof inspection. 979-446-9874. AmeriStarRoofing.com.
We're here with Jason Rollo of Rollo Insurance. Jason, when you say the difference is real, what does that mean?
Let's take the term real, R-E-A-L. Rates, education, assets, and life. And here's what I mean. People think insurance is about rates, and although those are important, it's really about education of the product you're buying so we can protect the assets of people, and we want to do that for life. Insurance is about taking care of people, and that's what we mean when we say the difference is real.
All right, for more information, visit RolloInsurance.com.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on the Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Texas A&M men's basketball overcame a 15-point first-half deficit to rally past Northwestern State last night, 64-52. The Aggies were dominant in the second half, outscoring the Demons 36-19. Coach Buzz Williams after the victory.
I think the difference was we got stops, and we shrunk the rotation with guys that could get stops and finish with the rebound. And then we did a really good job of putting pressure on the rim. 21 made free throws, really, really good. And so I know you already knew all of that, but that was the difference.
Meanwhile, Henry Coleman III got it done offensively for the Ags, scoring a season-high 24 points.
We knew that, the game was going to be slowed down a little bit. They like to play a little bit slower, working last couple of seconds of the shot clock. So we talk about all the time valuing a possession. I thought we valued the possession very well. Credit to the guards who were slowing down the pace for us and making sure that we were taking the right shots at the right time.
With the victory, Henry and the guys snap a 2-game losing skid and improve to 7-5 on the year. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On the Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
Hi, popular sports talk host Chip Howard, reminding you I'm taking some time off to celebrate the holidays with friends and family. For those of you who don't get as much vacation time, be sure to continue to spend money with my sponsors so I can continue my mini vacations. Sevchek Service Center, Schulte Roofing, Clark Eisenhower Real Estate, and Galleria Spa and Salon. See you next year here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM, The Zone.
If I'm going to do this, I'll need my news team at my side.
News team, assemble!
Howdy, Aggieland. Welcome to the SEC.
Our program will be built on 4 principles in which I talk about all the time: toughness, effort, discipline, and pride.
Dang it! I'm going to have to buy that boy cream cone.
Now I'm distracted on my point. What were we talking about?
It's bullcrap. All I care about is winning. Show me the dang baby.
You do it till they do it right, and then you do it till they can't do it wrong.
Go get him! Why are you dancing around? Eat him like he's a steak.
He fits what TexAgs radio is about. He fits into what the listeners are going to want. He's a pro on every level.
It's Nuño and the crew on TexAgs Radio. Right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
Hey, hit records on my demo. Did y'all boys not get the memo? I do not stay at the Intercontinental.
Interesting when you go on vacation, especially when you do what we do for a living. You don't want to come back to work, and then you want to come back to work. Both things are happening, because I was enjoying family time. Welcome back into TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. David Nuño here. Olin Buchanan here with us, as he always is. Good morning, OB.
Good morning.
So, spent some time last night getting ready for the show, watching a little Aggie basketball, and pretty much every time we watch them play, we know that if they're playing down, if they're playing an opponent that's probably beneath them, it'll probably be close for a most part. And if they're playing a team that is maybe perceived to be better than them, they'll play them pretty close as well. That's just how A&M kind of grinds games out. A little disappointed for the first few minutes, but as you pointed out beforehand, they did dominate it after that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to feel about that game afterwards. They won by just absolutely dominating the last 30 minutes. They got down 27-12 early.
Mm-hmm.
And now Northwestern State, they can shoot threes. That's all they do. And they came out hot. But A&M made some defensive adjustments, and they made, I think, 2 of their last 16 in the game. they still hit some, but after their fast start, I think after they got up 27-12, they only made 2 more shots the rest of the half, and they were both threes. And A&M just dominated inside. A&M did not shoot well from the 3-point range. I think they were like 1 of 12. But they dominated inside. Henry Coleman had a big game. Boots Radford was playing really well driving. And they made defensive adjustments. So you look at it and say, man, if you could take away those first 10 minutes, they just absolutely destroyed Northwestern State, which is not a bad team. They beat TCU.
And they played Baylor tight.
They played. They lost by 10 to Baylor, and they were down 2 at half.
Right.
They scored 102 against Stephen F. Austin. I don't know what SFA's like now, but we know historically SFA is really strong basketball program. So I don't really know what to think of that win. Other than it's a whole lot better than a loss.
Heck yeah, but 12 games in, I think you can tell you a lot about this team today as opposed, we know last season things were terrible, then they got hot, right? So I'm not saying that you can write the story on this team, but I believe that this team right now, they are who they are. They play hard. They can score points, but they don't shoot necessarily well. They dominated that team yesterday for 30 minutes, yet they only won by 9. And I know they had to overcome a big deficit, but in totality, a game that you were the better team for 75% of it, you win by 9.
Well, they won by 12.
Excuse me, by 12. Then I don't know.
Well, that 12-point win, like I said, looks a lot better if you just focus on the last 30 minutes.
Right.
Because if you focus on the last 30 minutes, they win. What would that have been? 52 to their final score was 52. Subtract 27.
Right.
25.
Yep.
Something like that. I don't know. It's too early for me to do math. I had trouble in school, but you can't take out that.
You can't. Well, especially considering what we've seen this season. If it was a one-off, you can't. But Wofford was just a few days before. It was a week before.
Mm-hmm. I think what I come away from that, if I was going to find any reason to feel really good, is despite all the 3-pointers they gave up, they did a pretty good job in 3-point defense, especially after the first 10 minutes. So that's been a problem for A&M. So it looks like they made some strides there. And getting Henry Coleman going is absolutely essential to their success, and he proved it last night. But you're going to play stronger competition starting, I don't know, maybe against Prairie View. I don't know. Prairie View's supposed to be pretty good.
Yep.
Beat Arizona State, I think. And then in the SEC play. And they shot free throws like crazy, which was really good.
And they made them.
Yeah, 21 of 27. I think they missed their last 2. So at one time it was 21 of 25. But 1 of 12. If you can only make 1 of 12 from 3-point line, and I know you can say, well, they were just having a bad night, and they were. But at some point, do you even just stop looking for that shot if you can't make it?
Yeah. Do you even think about the tournament anymore?
No, I think with this basketball team, and I'm sure this is the way they approach it, but the only way to approach this season is the whole, coach speak, cliche, game by game. Because with this team, it absolutely is. Because in the situation they're in, they have to win each game. They have to take each game and win that game. And if you take that approach, maybe come late February, you take a step back and say, hey, wait, we've won enough games to be in the discussion. But right now they're not in the discussion. Now, should we be having that discussion in December? No, but people do. You still got the Palms and people like that out there that are already, projecting the tournament field.
Right. I look at how they play these teams, and you're going to step up the competition. It doesn't mean they won't get better, but their margin of error is so small. They have to be second or third in the SEC, I think, to make the tournament. They're going to have to win 12 games.
Yeah. 12 games to get into the discussion, and maybe you get in with 12 games. and win another couple in the SEC tournament. If you can do that,
and who are those 12 wins? Which, if you win 12, you're probably beating some good teams. But
yeah, you're going to have to. As of last week, 6 teams. I don't know what it is right now, but 6 teams in the SEC were ranked among the AP top 25. Yeah, you have a very little room for error, very little margin for error. But that doesn't just start next week against Florida. That starts on Friday against Prairie View.
Yep. Manny Obaseki not playing very much. Interesting. I know Garcia probably got a little bit of those
played pretty
minutes.
well. He gave him some energy.
But I think Manny played, 3 or 4 minutes?
Yeah. And again, they're to that point where I think if you put a guy in, and if he's not making an obvious positive contribution, see, look at if you look at the box score here, let me call it up. I have it right here. And you look at A&M, you start seeing Dexter Dennis playing 34 minutes, Coleman playing 33, Radford playing 36, Taylor playing 25. I think you haven't been seeing guys play that many. You know, the minutes have been more spread out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is an example of Buzz's sense of urgency. I've got to find the guys who are going to go out there and make positive contributions. And if you're not, I got to sit you down.
Right. It is what it is, and it's not great. All right, if you want to be a part of the discussion, you can call us up at the hotline 979-693-1150, 979-693-1150, or you can text us on the A&B text line, 979-693-1150. Let's go around the room and say hello. Nick Savage, good morning, Nicholas.
Howdy, good morning. Welcome back, David.
Thank you. I like that. Is it a hoodie you're wearing? What
yeah,
is
it's
it?
a hoodie. I got a lot of Astros gear for Christmas. Pretty easy. Just tell my mom and dad, well, you know, there's a team in Houston that won a championship, and there's about 1 million different pieces of apparel to buy for it. So got a little bit of that. How was your break, David?
It was nice. Did a lot of home stuff, you know, just like home chores. Like our garage has been basically a shed or a junk.
You don't have
room.
a garage gym?
We do, but it's like half of it was like boxes because like I told my wife, like, what happens, I don't know if this happened to you, OB, in the few times you've moved, like boxes on top of boxes on top. It eventually it just becomes, you miss it. Like it just becomes part of the house. Like the junk, you just get used to seeing the box there and you just kind of walk by it. And we've been there a freaking year.
That's what I would do, except I have a very efficient anal retentive wife.
That's how
who says, yeah, we need to take care of this. And I'm like, yeah, it'll get taken care of. No, we need to take care of it now. But they don't know we need to take care of it. And I'm like, oh, okay.
So I spent a lot of time
moving things to the attic.
Yep, moving things to the attic. And now I'm wondering, like, I hope this attic is strong enough for all this stuff. I don't want the plywood to break and kill us. But, yeah, so I spent a lot of time seeing my parents, my brother's family, going back and forth from Houston. It was nice. I enjoyed my time away. But I did miss, like, especially the day after signing day. I did the signing day show. I was like, it's kind of a day I should be here. But, you know, we have today to catch up. What else, Nick?
Oh, nothing much. Just I didn't watch the basketball game yesterday, but I kept up with it. And just looking at the stat line, it's crazy that A&M just needs to find like a consistent 3-point shooter. It just doesn't seem like there's anybody on the team right now that can hit threes consistently, and that seems to be something missing. So hopefully they can spin the Prairie View game and maybe a little bit into Florida to find that guy. But yeah, I think if they do find that guy, that's going to go a long way for them.
I don't know if Buzz is going to focus on that this week, but one thing that I saw all of last year, even during the losing streak, even during the win streak, Buzz would find an area that he needs to fix. And by the next game, typically, he'd fix it. If they had a really bad free throw shooting game, it'd be interesting. They would come back and have a nice free throw shooting game. He'll work on these things, and I'll give him that. He can diagnose a problem quickly and fix it, OB.
Well, one thing I'll say about this A&M team, because over the last 10 years I've been covering A&M basketball, free throw shooting has been an adventure, and usually not a pleasant one.
Yeah.
So to see them go up and shoot free throws the way they did, and I think they shot them real well at Memphis, if I recall correctly, but to see them shoot free throws the way they did, first getting to the line and then making it, sometimes I want to say, yeah, this is A&M, right? Because I'm talking about even going back to Billy Kennedy days.
Yep.
I would they'd go to the free throw line, and it was like watching everybody at the free throw line became Shaq.
Yeah.
So you have that, but they are streaky from the 3-point range because I've seen them be good. Dexter Dennis went 4 for 7 from 3-point range against Oregon State, and in every game since then, I don't think he's had 4 that he's made 4 since.
Right.
There's been 4 games since then, maybe 3, but they're just streaky. I've seen Wade Taylor go out. I think he had a bunch of them against Memphis, and then last night he hit like 1 of 5 or something like that. So hopefully that streakiness will somehow evolve into consistency.
Did you wear a suit last night to the game?
I did not, but I did wear a kind of I'll call it a
Blazer?
casual jacket.
Okay.
That my wife bought me for Christmas,
I was
as
gonna
well
say.
as some really nice shoes.
XCT87 says he saw Obi at the game last night, and you had a suit on, but you had a nice jacket on.
It was a nice jacket. It was even Dalton pointed out how nice my jacket. I won't tell you the way Dalton complimented it because
Right.
it was, everything Dalton does, or says, has a non-family friendly tone to it. But I still appreciated it.
Right.
I texted Irma and said, "This is what Dalton said about it."
Good old Dalton. Hey, let's go to the News and Social Center. Kay Nagley.
Good morning, guys. How are y'all?
I'm right. How are you?
I'm good. I got to sit next to Obi yesterday. He cracked a lot of dad jokes. It was fun.
Well, give me an example of a dad joke if you can remember.
Gosh.
No.
I don't think they were radio appropriate.
Not radio. Okay. How are you?
I'm good. My Christmas is good. I spent a lot of time with my fam. I love that.
Posted a lot of pictures.
Yeah, I like old Steve Nagley.
Yeah. He kept me entertained for sure. All of my family, we all just get along very well. So it was a lot of fun to hang with them, especially being done with school for
Who
a
tells
moment.
better jokes, me or Steve Nagley?
Y'all are hand in hand. Like if I'm not with him and then I'm around you, I feel like I'm around my dad.
But isn't your dad like my age?
Yeah, I
He's
covered her dad.
53.
I covered games that her dad was playing in at White House. He was a pretty good receiver, actually, and a pitcher.
Okay. All right.
I don't get the athletic ability apparently, so.
He just goes to those games at the gym.
Yep, that's my job.
You're the female Nuño.
I don't know if that's a compliment.
Yeah, I can't figure that one out.
Well, what is your athletic prowess like, David?
Now or ever?
Or like in high school.
Hayden Hefner at a lower level. Okay, like I play hard.
And but you're a weight room
compared
aficionado.
to the 75-year-olds at Gold's Gym. Yes, I'm in shape. Yes, in that case, I'm totally in shape. Compared to like, I don't know, The Rock. No.
Well, yeah, but you're not roided up like The Rock.
Not
either.
yet. I haven't started yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm about to go on my cycle of roids.
Yeah.
Hey, gyms are about to be packed, and David's not going to be happy. So
Well, you know who's not going to be happy? Yeah, I'll find my time to go.
Luch.
Luch will hate it.
it's the worst time.
It'll last about 3 weeks, and then it's gone. So just got to weather the storm. What do we have going on in news?
So we only have one thing today. Texas A&M men's basketball team rallied for a hard-fought 64-52 victory over the Northwestern State Demons on Tuesday night at Reno Arena. Down by as many as 15 at the half, the resilient Aggies battled within 5 points at halftime and then grabbed a hold of the lead less than 2 minutes in the second half. The Aggies were dominant in the second half, outscoring the Demons 36-19 as they cruised to a 12-point margin of victory.
Now, look, I know Louisianans are a little bit different, right? And I don't want to be too righteous here like I ever am, but imagine 100 years ago, whenever Northwestern State was founded, right?
Right.
And a bunch of people that are going to be in charge of the university are sitting around and think, okay, we got to come up with a mascot. And somebody says, I know, we want to be Demons. Demons. Well, Demons? I mean, isn't that kind of
Feels
an
like
odd mascot?
minor league hockey kind of team name.
But Demons, it seems kind of odd to me. Hey, we want to be Demons. We want to be disciples of Satan.
The Demon Deacons?
Yeah. Are those like Satan worshipers. I don't know, the demon deacons, but yeah, we're going to be the demons. Is it? And Wake Forest, is demon then an adjective?
I think it is.
So can you? What would I need to look it up? What would demon be as an adjective? The definition as an adjective.
I think that will do that.
Demon-like?
Demon-like, demonic, if you will.
Well, then it would be the demonic demons. I mean, demonic deacons.
I think we should change it.
I'm trying to figure out.
I like that sweater.
Oh yeah, this is
Opie's just dripping.
Old school cotton ball. I probably got this in
This is 1991.
90. Well, no, I probably it was after that because I wasn't covered. I covered the Cotton Bowl every year for about 15 years. So this would probably be mid to late 90s.
Mid to late 90s.
Probably.
1995 at its best.
Southwestern Bell was still the sponsor. I don't know.
That's been a minute, yeah. That's been a minute. All right, let's hit a break. When we come back, we'll get to your text messages. I see you, Kalachi, Matt. I see a bunch of you on the chats. We'll get to that here momentarily. Right now, we're talking Heritage Films, Chance McClain's company. The website is yourheritagefilm.com. Heard from one of you this the past week, like, hey, it's close to Christmas and thinking about doing this for my dad. Can you get me Chance's number? Well, I'll give it to you right now, 713-893-8341. Or you can go to the website, yourheritagefilm.com. If you're not familiar with what Chance does there, he makes documentary films about families. He makes documentary films about just normal Joes, right? The Jimmies and the Joes, he'll do those for you. You don't have to be like a Hollywood celebrity to have a story done for your family or for you or your dad or your uncle. Chance will come out there, he'll shoot it, he'll light it, he'll bring the crew, and he'll put it together. It takes about two months to finish up, and then you will have yourself an incredible documentary about somebody in your family, yourself, whomever, right? It's a great thing to do for your family, especially during the holidays. The website is yourheritagefilm.com, yourheritagefilm.com, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. The Brazos County Health District is distributing free rapid COVID-19 home tests Wednesday and Thursday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Friday from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Supplies are limited to 2 boxes per person. Businesses and other not-for-profit community organizations should contact the health district to obtain larger quantities as available. Parents of 3 to 4-year-olds, do you want to help your child excel in kindergarten? You can with the Hippie program. Email hippie@tamu.edu for more information on this free program. Toastmasters International has helped millions of people become more confident communicators, public speakers, and leaders. The Bryan Club meets every Thursday from noon to 1 at the Mounts Library. The bowl season on The Zone is brought to you by Hungry Howie's. The Cotton, Orange, Sugar, Rose, Peach, Fiesta, and more can all be heard on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
WPI needs a service technician to diagnose and repair heavy equipment for their Bryan location. This full-time position comes with a company vehicle, insurance, 401k, paid holidays, paid vacation, and competitive pay if you or someone you know is hardworking, dependable, and looking for full-time employment in the construction equipment repair industry. Apply in person with Jesse James at WPI in Bryan, Highway 21 East at Marino Road. WPI, an equal opportunity employer.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Max Kellerman.
Tom Brady's played 20-plus years of football. He went 10 years and didn't get one. Some people don't play 10 years and never get it. There are guys who have played in the National Football League for a number of years and don't even know what confetti looks like.
Even for Jordan to have 6, there is an element of luck that goes into that.
Oh, of course.
Not Jordan 6. No one ever took him 7 games. But there's luck in terms of the situation you find yourself in.
Well, Jordan got lucky. He went all 6.
Stop.
What are you talking about?
How did he get lucky?
Because injuries. Injuries are key component. There's luck that goes into all that stuff, man.
That's fair, right? You avoid injury.
And here's why we jump on you when you say stuff like that, though, Max. Because we athletes. So when we hear people say things, it's like, wait a minute, man. No.
Spend your mornings with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor. Mornings from 5 to 8 here on The Zone.
And we're back, TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're here in the Rollo Insurance Studio, and it is the Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. OB with us here. OB, did you check out Luka Doncic game last night, his game?
Well, of course, I was busy with the Aggies, but I did stay up to watch the highlights, and he was amazing. That how often does it ever work out when you have to miss a shot, the free throw, you have to miss the free throw and hope to get the rebound?
And to put it back up.
And then to actually do it and put it up, make the shot with one. That in itself was amazing.
I don't know what was more amazing, his stat line that nobody's ever done before, 61, 21, and 10, or the way he willed his team back. And then they
were down like 10 with less than, I don't know, about a minute to go, something crazy.
Something close to that, right?
It wasn't like A&M against Northern Iowa. But it was in the neighborhood.
It was impressive. 60, 21, and 10. Luka Doncic. Is he the best player in the NBA? I don't know if I watched enough NBA today to tell you, but it's either him or John Morant.
I know this. I'm go out on the limb, and I'd say he's the best player from Slovenia.
Slovenia. Do you know that he started his professional career at Real Madrid?
I do know that, actually, because I looked it up today.
Did you really?
I did.
Yeah, he played.
I thought it was a soccer player.
No, they got a basketball team. He's
I
very close with the soccer players, though. Very close with Tony Cruz, who's one of their midfielders. All right, let's talk a little bit about, are the Ags better today at certain positions than they were a month ago? Look, I've listened to Billy, I've listened to Bronny and Howell, and there's some TBDs, right? There's to be continued.
Mm-hmm.
We got to see what happens here with transfers before February. But today, where are they better? Where are they not better? And I guess the only place for sure they're not better is linebacker.
I don't know if I would agree with that.
Are they? They might be. They can't be better, can they?
Well, what you're basing it on is, do guys get better with a season? I think guys.
I see what you're saying.
I think that guy. I don't know that they will be, but I think typically guys are better in their second year as a starter.
Mm-hmm.
You can look at Buddy Johnson, what he was his first year as a starter and his second year as a starter, as an example. So I think Adrian Cooper, was this his first year as a full-time starter?
That sounds right, yeah.
I think.
He'll be better.
Chris Russell, definitely his first year as a full-time starter. So who'd you lose?
You lost Andre White.
Yeah. He is what he is. And I'll tell you this, and this is not a slight at Andre because I liked him. But, he's played 4 years.
Yep.
Pretty much is what he is. I don't want to come off as, a spin doctor here. I personally would be more interested in what Martrell Harris would do next year than Andre, had Andre still be here, because I saw a little bit of Martrell and I liked it, and I'm wondering what he could be when I already know what Andre White is. And Andre White is the guy he's the range, the stove.
Yeah.
On Let's Make It. It's a nice prize,
but
but it's not the car. But it's nice. I mean, you're not going to feel like you had a bad.
You won.
Yeah.
You won something.
But Martrell's still that, what's behind door number 2.
Right.
I've watched way too much TV when I was a kid.
Tell.
Yeah.
So my response to that would be, outside of what we hope growth to be, because we hoped the offensive line this year would have been better because of growth, outside of losing maybe one of the best linemen you've ever had in Kenyon Green.
Right.
But so of course you're going to take a little bit of a step back. But outside of that, you haven't added to it per se to be an upgrade yet.
Not yet. I think, if you ask me what are they right now, same, I guess, but I would expect them to be better next year just on 2 reasons. Number one, health.
Yep.
Is Bryce Foster going to be back and healthy? Is
Layden Robinson going to play.
I'm trying to Trey Zoon.
Yeah,
he played hurt all year. Is he going to be healthy? Right? Are those guys going to be healthy? You go into a season assuming they're going to be. Are they going to stay healthy? And then the other reason is a second year apparently under Adazio. And you can say, oh, how much of a difference does that make? Well, I do know about 3 years ago, the Aggie populace was ready to run Josh Henson out of town because in his first year, the A&M offensive line did not perform very well. The next year, after he's worked with those guys, they understand that whatever reason, they got infinitely better. Now, is that going to happen for Adazio? I don't know. But I've seen in the past guys seem to get better as they get more accustomed or more comfortable with their offensive line.
I think the O-line, though, regardless of if the production is going to be better, they've added to the talent level with these youngsters that they've added. So I think it's a step in the right direction, right?
Yeah.
They have not added enough at linebacker. Running back, it probably won't be as good as it was last year, obviously, with Devon Achane, but you filled it as best as you could with a 5-star top running back in the country level Reuben Owens.
Yeah.
Quarterback, you added Marcel Reed, who is probably perfectly fit for this system because I think he probably understands he's not a project. He's not a project, but he comes in here as a 4-star, not a 5-star, and I think there's a different mentality, not expecting to start right away. I'm guessing here. I don't know the kid. I'm just guessing. You come with Connor Wegman here and Max Johnson, you realize I'm still a year or two away. So, but I think you helped yourself there. Secondary, you need help, man. You need some, do I think Bryce Anderson and crew are going to be awesome? Absolutely do. But when you lose Antonio Johnson, when you lose Jalen Jones, yes, Grimes is going to be, it probably evens it out.
Yeah, but, you don't have Denver Harris. Of course, you didn't have him a lot this year, but when he did play, he was good. I don't worry too much about not having Brian George anymore. I don't worry too much about Miles because he hadn't played for 2 years much, But I do worry about not having Damani Richardson.
Yeah. I worry about that too.
Gilbert played a lot, started a lot, so I'm not worried about him. And I know there's a lot of good potential, a lot of really promise with Jacoby Matthews.
Yep.
But promise, no matter how good it is not better than actual production. And you got the actual production from Richardson.
Let me read this before we hit a break here. Calvin says, just by sheer numbers, the Ags football team is not better than before the end of the season. They may head into the season with as few as 75 scholarship players. Compare players departed at each position with the players that are here coming in, not better. Have lots of quote-unquote hope, and more portal players and late high school signees in February will help turn the corner.
That's why I always keep saying health is so important, because the guys you lost for the most part, and I'm talking about the vast majority of them, it's okay. You want them to have a better career somewhere else, but they're not going to play here. So, there's some concern about depth, but I think with the exception of linebacker, that the guys you have, I'm not saying Anderson's going to be as good as Antonio Johnson as a nickel.
Right.
Because that would be unfair to Anderson to say that. But I think he's going to be good there. So anyway, good, yeah. I think the starters you're going to be able to put out there, I think, next year, if you're healthy, is going to be a starting lineup. It's going to be on par with just about everybody. It's the depth that you worry about.
You definitely worry about the depth. And we can continue a little bit on this, and then I also have some SEC Players of the Year questions for you, OB, when we come back. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
It's the one show in the world that talks Aggie football, Star Wars, and progressive overload at the gym. It's TexAgs Radio with David, Olin, and Billy here on the Zone.
Are you active duty military, a teacher, or first responder in the Brazos Valley? Listen close. Local wedding professionals are teaming up to share their love and appreciation for you through the 5th Annual American Heroes Dream Wedding Giveaway. How? An all-inclusive wedding, from invitations to the honeymoon and everything in between. Registration opens January 1st, 2023 at AmericanHeroesWedding.com. For more info and list of vendors, visit AmericanHeroesWedding.com or call 979-822-8368.
Howdy, Ags. Grohalski Sausage in Bremen has been making their famous homemade Polish sausage using the original family recipe since 1952. Homemade smoked bacon, beef sticks, jerky, and summer sausage using authentic family recipes. Make Grohalski Sausage your #1 source for your next holiday party or tailgate. Grohalski Sausage offers custom deer processing with the same quality craftsmanship they started 3 generations ago. Aggie owned and operated, Grohalski Sausage is on Main Street in Bremen. Gig 'em.
Question. Would you pick a chain barbecue place over a hometown joint? Do you root for East Coast universities instead of the local team? Nah, then why choose a big Wall Street bank? A&B started in 1892. 5 generations later, we're still owned and operated by the same Texas family. We support this community. We value your privacy. We make quick decisions, and we hate red tape. We answer to you, not Wall Street. Bank with A&B. Family owned, Texas proud. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Does the insulated glass in your windows refuse to come clean no matter how hard you work? If so, the glass unit has probably lost its seal. You might notice moisture between the panes, a hazy look, shadows, or even the growth of some white mold. If so, it's time to call your friends at Intercon. Not only are these conditions unattractive, but you no longer have an insulated barrier in your windows. There are a number of options available to you to remedy lost seals. Most options allow you to retain your existing window frame and just replace the bad glass with a new sealed unit. Clear insulated glass offers an insulating pocket, but no protection against solar heat gain. Low E insulated glass adds a coating between the sheets of glass. The coating blocks about 80% of the solar heat gain, as well as the damaging UV rays of the sun. Another option is to trade out the entire window frame with a premium vinyl window. Since Intercon does both glass and windows, we can offer you a full complement of options. Call Intercon to get a free quote from a locally owned and managed business.
Whether you have new construction or an existing home, let the fine folks from Intercon help you keep your home energy efficient year-round. Call Brad Beard of Intercon today at 823-3639. That's 823-3639.
The College Football Bowl season on the Zone is brought to you by Hungry Howie's, the home of the flavored crust. You can hear the national championship game, the college football semifinals. You can hear the New Year's Six and more. All the bowls from ESPN Radio right here on the Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Listen in thanks to Hungry Howie's, the home of the flavored crust. It's the bowl season, the most wonderful season of the year.
Doing a little ZZ Top research here with OB.
Yeah.
Still with us?
Billy Gibbons, I believe, is still with us. I was just looking it up, and I looked,
That's CCR,
briefly.
by the way. I didn't think that was just for the record.
I think Billy Gibbons is still with us. It was Dusty, God, why can't I think of his last name, who passed away a couple of years ago. And Frank Beard, I think, recently passed away.
Yeah.
The drummer who had no beard.
He didn't have a beard. You're right. Yeah. Hey, by the way, it's TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are here in the Rollo Insurance Studio, and it is the Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. OB, just a quick Yellowstone update. I'm on season 5.
Okay. You're up to date.
I'm catching up. I've only done 1 episode, and I think, that first episode is a 2-hour episode, right? So I'm an hour into the season 5. Couple things. I didn't like season 4. It was okay. It was just a show.
Okay.
And I don't know if I like the direction of him being the governor. I don't know if I like John Dutton as governor. I like him on the ranch. I like him fighting people and ordering executions. That's what I like, which is totally terrible of me. But,
Well, but now as the governor, by the way, I think I misspoke. Frank Beard apparently is still with us. So
okay, good.
I'm sorry, Frank. I mean, I'm happy for you, but I'm sorry.
I killed wrong. People off of my first week on the show.
As the governor, he can maybe not execute people, but he can decide who gets executed.
Yeah, I want more.
I don't know if they execute in Montana.
I want more cowboy fighting.
Yeah, I think it's coming.
Okay.
I think it's going to be really good. Well, you're early.
I'm very early, yeah. So don't tell me too much. I
won't say much.
But I want fighting. I want bar fights. That's the first season when there's bar fights and there's people getting punched. That's what I signed up for. I don't care about passing laws in Montana. I want to pass a punch through the throat.
Yeah, I think they're setting that up.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Oh, you've been watching it too?
Okay.
I've only seen this season.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
I'm weird. I know. I haven't gone back and watched
She's
all
not
of it.
seen 1 through 4, but seen 5.
But I get it though.
Here's my question: Does watching this make you want to visit Montana?
Yeah.
I'm going to Montana soon,
looks
and I
pretty.
want to become a dental floss tycoon. And if you know who sang that, then I'm really impressed. No,
Not
okay.
in my.
I want to know anybody who listening to me can
decipher,
can identify the artist that wrote and sang, "I'm going to Montana soon, going to become a dental floss tycoon."
I don't know.
You don't get a prize if you know that. I'm just going to.
You just ask.
You just get my admiration.
By the way, I would vote for John Dutton as governor. I
would
like what he
too,
stands
yeah,
for.
yeah.
I think we're probably aligned on certain things. It feels that way. Did I say that this is a go hour?
It is.
And it's presented by the warehouse at
CNC Creations.
CC Creations, that's right. We are in the Rollo Insurance studio. I love this studio, by the way.
I do too.
It's a good studio. Rollo Insurance. Good job, guys. And the show is brought to you by
David Gardner's Jewelers.
They're good people there. Very good people.
They really are. I've had a really positive experience. I told you one time I took a bracelet or something to get fixed, and he said, "You know what? Take it somewhere else because they can do it a lot cheaper than I can." I mean, who does that?
David.
Man,
Mr. Gardner.
That impressed me.
OB, so I wanted to ask you a couple of SEC questions, okay? Like SEC, who was the best at this position, that position, yada, yada, yada.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Okay, do your best.
Because it's off the top of my head.
Off the top of your head. Yeah, I didn't warn you. I mean, I warned you a little bit, like 6 minutes ago, but that's not enough time to really get a comp. But we can talk about it out loud.
Okay.
Best running back in the SEC. I would like to say Devon Achane because of what he went up against, but I think you can absolutely go Quinshon Judkins.
I'd go Judkins.
Yeah.
Because you can't make excuses for somebody.
No,
you got to
can't.
look as much as you want to. Now, if I was having a pick between the two of them for my team, all things being equal, I think
Devon
Ajane's better. But if I have to look at what happened this season, Judkins.
Best quarterback. Easiest question I think I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker. I voted for him for the Heisman.
Yep.
I think he should have won it. I think he got hosed. I think it was an ESPN, agenda to get Caleb Williams the Heisman. And I think there's a lot of lazy Heisman voters that are like sheep.
Hey, let me ask you, because maybe I'm dumb. And yes, a lot of people, yeah, you are. How come JT Daniels can transfer every 2 weeks? Like, what? I know you can transfer once without penalty and once as a grad transfer. But I feel like he's transferred more. Did he maybe sit out a year? Is that why?
I don't know. The guy's been everywhere, right?
I
know he had one time an injury.
USC, Georgia, West Virginia, and now he's somewhere else, right?
Yeah. Where is it?
He was injured at USC, I believe.
So that didn't count?
But he played there.
It was a redshirt injury, maybe.
Yeah. So, and then there's the 2020 thing. But yeah, you're supposed to get one free transfer. But he seems to, maybe because he's still maybe he's graduate and
you graduated again. Let's go, double major.
As long as you're graduated and still have eligibility, I guess that's the loophole.
Right.
Where is it? I think he's going somewhere in California now.
I'm doing the Google machine.
Or maybe UNLV. Maybe
JT Daniels.
Rice. He's going to Rice.
Yeah.
Rice.
Oh,
Rice.
right. We could go watch him.
Oh, so I was way off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Way off.
I must be thinking of somebody else.
Okay.
You know what? Maybe it was the other guy that from USC that was at Pitt. And Slovis.
Yeah, Caden Slovis.
He's transferring again.
Again?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't understand.
Yeah,
how it
JT
works.
Daniels.
Best wide receiver. I'm just going to throw a name at you. Jalen Hyatt. Is that a Jalen?
Yeah.
Is it Hyatt? Yeah.
I think that's an open and shut. There's a guy in Missouri that had a big year, and I think he's transferred somewhere, and I've already forgotten where. Lovett, I think his name is, but I'd say Hyatt.
Yep. All right. We were going to continue going on, and let's see. The next question I have for you is best defensive player. I'm just,
I don't like to be the guy that just parrots everything, but I don't know how you go against Anderson from Alabama.
Yeah.
He still led the conference in sacks, overtook Drew Sanders and. And you look at Georgia, and that's without a doubt the best defense. But it's really is just this great collection of guys. But nobody has the eye popping stats that just jumps out at you. Now, if you wanted to go for a wild card, it'd be Emmanuel Forbes, the cornerback from Mississippi State, with like 6 interceptions and a bunch of passes broken up. And he's been a thorn in the side of the Aggies. He's the guy that returned the blocked field goal for a touchdown. He had 2 years ago in 2020. He's the guy that caught the interception that ricocheted off Anais Smith's shoulder pads, and he took that for a touchdown. I mean, he's good. I mean, he's going into the NFL draft. I'm glad he's getting out of there.
Next one, best freshman defensive player. I think it's easy.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kendrick Perkins.
Harold Perkins.
Harold Perkins. I knew a Kendrick.
Kendrick Perkins.
He's the basketball guy.
Yeah,
Harold Perkins.
Hates. Yeah,
and he didn't look it against A&M.
No, but he looked it against everybody else.
But he looked it against everybody else. Yeah.
And then on the offensive side,
I'm still going with Judkins.
Yeah, you have to. He was great. He was fantastic.
Yeah. So I can't. I wonder who else I would put if not Judkins. Really, nobody jumps out at me. I'm probably missing somebody obvious, but right now nobody jumps out at me.
I think this one can be debated,
okay.
And I'm not strong on either. But best coach in the SEC this year. I mean, Kirby.
Oh, I'm going with Kirby Smart. Look at all they lost from that national championship team, and here he is, right again about probably going to win a national championship.
You could make an argument for Josh Heupel.
You could make an argument for Heupel.
Yep.
Make a strong argument for him. In fact, most people would probably say that.
He probably did the most
with the least,
unexpected.
Yes.
Right?
But isn't there something to say for a coach that lost that many players and then to come back and not miss a beat?
And they're favored to win it all again.
I would bet on them. Now, I do think that Ohio State game is going to be more interesting than maybe some think. And maybe I'm dead wrong, but Ohio State does have an explosive offense or explosive capabilities to test that Georgia defense. I don't know how successful they'll be, but they have that ability. And I do wonder about how good Georgia's offense is going to be without McConkey playing.
Yeah. And we'll do much more of this tomorrow since it'll be our last show before the playoffs. But do you give TCU a chance against Michigan?
I give them a chance. I think when you have a quarterback like Duggan, one of those guys that just wills your team, I think that they have a chance. But here's what I'm concerned about. And I know Corum isn't out there, but they got Donovan Edwards who had that huge game against Ohio State. And Michigan has a really good run blocking offensive line. And I just watched in that Big 12 championship game that Kansas State kid Vaughn, who's about maybe his name's not Vaughn. He's like 5'6". I can't think of his name. They're running back from Kansas State, and he ran all over him. So if this guy from Kansas State can run with that much success, and I'm sorry I can't remember his name, then what's Donovan Edwards going to do?
Right. Hey, let's hit a break here. Right now we're talking Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell. Online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. That's the place to go when you're looking for a new vehicle. So, all right, the new year's coming, a couple days away from that, and many of you are doing your finances for the new year, and you're thinking like, all right, come April, maybe it's time to get a new car, maybe June, July, whatever it may be. Just know that Caldwell Country Chevrolet should be the first place you go and the last place you go to. You can search other places, by all means. But when you take everything into account, the customer service, the actual service when you buy a vehicle, you're not going to get anything better than that. They'll help you find the right vehicle for you. Other places say that, okay, well, just try it out. I'm telling you, they're going to find you the right vehicle at the right price with the best customer service out there. That's why we did our shopping this summer through Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Zach Hester and his crew will take amazing care of you. Great trade-in value. And it's not a far drive here from the Brazos Valley. 15 minutes, Brian and Caldwell, short conversation away. But you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and you do business with Zach and the fellas there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. The Brazos Valley Food Bank announces a $100,000 matching gift challenge. Make your donation by December 31st at bvfb.org. Make friends, test your strengths, and explore new possibilities. At Girl Scouts, girls can be themselves and let their confidence soar. Get your girl involved. Learn more at gsctx.org. The Brazos Valley Farmers Market is open in downtown Bryan Saturday mornings from 8 to noon. All produce is grown locally from friends and neighbors you know and trust. Did you know that the Student Employment Office at Texas A&M offers a free part-time job posting board? Visit jobsforaggies.tamu.edu for instructions questions on how to post your job opening. The bowl season on the Zone is brought to you by Hungry Howie's. The college football semifinal, national championship game, and more can be heard on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Howdy, this is Steve Bledsoe, fighting TexAgs class of 83, with some exciting news. Verabank is now open with our new full-service location on Highway 6 in College Station. With personal bankers, business bankers, Verabank has everything you need in one convenient location. Come see for yourself, where genuine banking is waiting for you, and you can bank on it.
Visit verabank.com today. That's VERA bank.com. Verabank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Start your sports day with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor. Weekday mornings from 5 to 8 on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Or just tell your smart speaker to play Zone 1150. WC Tractor is your local award-winning Kubota and New Holland dealer. Call them with your questions at 1-888-8-TRACTOR. That's 1-888-8-TRACTOR. Or check them out online at WCTractor.com. Rise and shine. Weekday mornings from 5 to 8 with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max from ESPN Radio. Powered by WC Tractor. Here on The Zone.
Due to the Texas heat, humidity, not to mention the multiple hail and windstorms, most roofs don't last their full lifetime. But since 2006, AmeriStarRoofing.com has been helping Texans protect their homes from age and storm-related damages, and they have multiple adjusters on staff working directly with your insurance company to ensure that you get the coverage you need to make your home look new again. Call Ameristar Roofing now to schedule your free roof inspection, 979-446-9874. AmeriStarRoofing.com.
Everything in life has rules, and the Zone has prize rules for all contesting. You can check them out at zone1150.com. You may know you can win once every 30 days. There can only be one winner per household per month. You have 30 days to pick up your prizes. You have to be 18 or older to win. You have to present a legal ID to claim your prize. All prizes are non-transferable and not for resale. To make sure you do know all the rules, or if you have any questions about the prize rules, make sure to visit zone1150.com. Zone1150.com.
And we're back, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It's the Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. OB, Christmas Eve, you were probably somewhat happy. Your Cowboys won.
I was. And there are those that, I pointed this out when I was talking to Dalton, there are those that dismiss that win over the hated Eagles because they said, well, the Eagles had a backup quarterback. And I'm like, okay, well, who was playing quarterback for the Cowboys when they lost to the Eagles in like week 6? I believe that was Cooper Rush.
That is right.
Who had 3 interceptions.
His first loss, right? Wasn't that his first loss?
I think so.
Yeah, because he was playing great up until that.
And he was terrible in that game.
Yeah.
So
they won in spite of him sometimes.
What's frustrating as a Cowboys fan is that with that win, they would be in the driver's seat for the number 1 spot in the playoffs.
Yep.
If they would not do what the Cowboys do, I acknowledge it, and choke away big second-half leads against Green Bay and Jacksonville, teams you should beat.
Yep. Hey, a couple text messages we need to get to. One of those is your band. You asked the question, who sang the Montana? Well,
going to Montana soon?
Frank Zappa.
Frank Zappa?
Zappa or Zappa?
Zappa?
Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. Who is it? Because he deserves
There's a lot
recognition.
Of people, actually.
Oh, okay.
Jet, Dermdock.
Dermdock, of course.
281.
All of you have my admiration.
Wade.
Cody
wants to know. Ask. Okay.
Where's Cody? I cannot find Cody.
Okay, I'll do it for you.
You may have to read it for me.
Who sang Big City? OB, that's according to Cody. He wants to know who sang Big City.
Frank Zappa. I really don't know.
No clue?
I don't know Big City.
Let's do one more here on the text.
Elvis Bright Lights, Big City?
I don't know. He'll text us. He'll tell us the answer.
Viva Las Vegas.
Kay, you want to give us David Edmonds?
Yes. So he says, Brian Kelly won the West in his first year. You didn't even mention him for Coach of the Year.
No, I didn't.
I could take him over Heupel. I want to win the West.
Well, first off, I think Kirby Smart's number 1.
Yeah, I'm looking at the whole conference, right? That's what we were discussing, the entire conference. Last time I saw Brian Kelly coach, he was getting, the last 2 times, he was getting blown off the field.
Well, did he lose to Georgia?
Bad.
Did he lose to Heupel? Bad.
Bad.
Did he lose to Jimbo Fisher?
Hell yeah.
So that's why. There you go, Dave. We give you your reasons. Yes, I understand, from what you expected out of LSU, absolutely in the conversation for it. They far succeeded expectations. So did Georgia. Now, nobody's surprised that Georgia's in the playoffs, but I don't think anybody expected this kind of dominance from Georgia after losing everybody.
I thought they'd be a national championship contender, but to be as good as they've been. And some say, they look at the Missouri game or something like that and say, oh, yeah, they have these, over 12 games. Sometimes you lose interest in those guys. But when they had to turn it on, they turned it on.
They turned it on when they had to. Merle Haggard sang Big City, according to Durham Doc.
Merle Haggard had a lot of great songs.
He's not with us
Mama
anymore?
Tried. No, he passed away about 5 or 6 years ago.
All right. Thank you, OB.
All right.
Appreciate you. All right. Hour number 2 coming up. John Harris coming on the program. I don't know how much time we have left because I usually have a timer that's out. So I'm assuming I got about 15 seconds to play with. So we got John Harris coming. We've got Logan Lee coming on.
Logan Lee.
Ryan Broniger. And CT. All right. That's going to do it for hour number 1. It's TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Looking for the Zone prize rules? Would you like to apply for a job at the Zone? Or need a phone number or email for the Zone? Visit zone1150.com. Would you like to sign up for the Zone All Access newsletter? Looking for podcasts of TexAgs Radio, The Louis Bellina Show, or Chip Howard? Or would you like to see the Zone's daily schedule? Visit zone1150.com. For more information, any questions, to contact us for everything and anything about the Zone, visit zone1150.com.
At a time when misinformation is all too common on social media, we take great pride in bringing you the news that matters, that impacts your family, news you can trust. Local broadcast journalists bring you the facts, covering the stories breaking in our community and across the globe. Text radio to 52886 and let Congress know you depend on local journalism. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
This is Aggieland's home for Aggie basketball, Aggie baseball, and Aggie football. The Zone. 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Tell us online at radioaggieland.com. This is KZNE College Station, Bryan.
From WTAW, this is a news update on the Zone. The Bryan Firefighters Union's being given more time to negotiate a new contract. City Manager Keene Register tells WTAW News that the New Year's Eve deadline's been extended by 30 days. It's after Register rejected a proposal submitted on behalf of the union's 145 members that would have, among other things, paid off-duty firefighters while conducting union business and eliminating the city's no-tolerance drug and alcohol policy while firefighters are at work. City of Bryan getting an additional $900,000 in its general fund. It's after the City Council during this month's meeting approved without public comment to sell a vacant BTU building on South Main across from Sale Park. College Station Property Group, which paid $1,000 above the asking price, intends to develop a retail business, possibly a restaurant. Building became vacant when BTU moved its meter shop to its building on Fountain Avenue. Public comments were made at this month's College Station ISD School Board meeting from 2 members of the Consolidated High School Athletics Booster Club. Both were dissatisfied with the lack of action by board members and administrators on addressing athletic facilities. Wendy Latendry says CSISD voters need to hear that as often as they hear the board and administration talk about expanding College Station High School.
I am asking for you to be the champion for Consol and to present a plan to the voters in 2023 to address the inequities.
By state law, board members are not allowed to respond to remarks from the members of the Consolidated Tiger Club. 2 inmates in the Brazos County Juvenile Detention Center were moved to the adult jail on Christmas Eve. It's after a security officer in juvenile detention was assaulted. According to the arrest report from the sheriff's office, video confirmed one of the inmates picking up the officer and slamming him to the floor, resulting in a knee injury. 17-year-old Patrick Tennell Jr. of Bryan arrested for assaulting a public servant. 18-year-old Mike Epperson of College Station charged with harassment. Both are also being held for state juvenile detention authorities. That's a news update on the Zone.
Does your bank know your first name? At Normandy State Bank, they do. Normandy State Bank is locally owned, controlled, and operated. This local personal touch means banking decisions are made on site the same day you request it. Normandy State makes banking easy. They're open Saturdays, offer state-of-the-art online banking, bill paying, fund transfers, check and statement images. Normandy State, where customer service is their priority. Normandy State Bank, rock solid. Member FDIC.
Caprock Health is known for our highly personalized emergency care. But did you know that at Caprock Hospital, our inpatients also benefit from the same unique one-on-one experience? Our lower patient-to-doctor-nurse ratio means our team truly gets to know your individual needs. Not only do we care about your sickness or injury, we care about you. Whether in facility for 5 minutes or 5 days, we manage every element of your visit because your details matter. So come see us, because at Caprock, we're always ready to care for you.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on the Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Texas A&M men's basketball overcame a 15-point first-half deficit to rally past Northwestern State last night, 64-52. The Aggies were dominant in the second half, outscoring the Demons 36-19. Coach Buzz Williams after the victory.
I think the difference was we got stops, and we shrunk the rotation with guys that could get stops and finish with the rebound. And then we did a really good job of putting pressure on the rim. 21 made free throws, really, really good. And so I know you already knew all of that, but that was the difference.
Meanwhile, Henry Coleman III got it done offensively for the Ags, scoring a season-high 24 points.
We knew that, the game was going to be slowed down a little bit. They like to play a little bit slower, working last couple seconds of the shot clock. So we talk about all the time valuing a possession. I thought we valued the possessions very well. Credit to the guards who were slowing down the pace for us and making sure that we were taking the right shots at the right time.
With the victory, Henry and the guys snap a 2-game losing skid and improve to 7-5 on the year. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On the Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
Looking for podcasts of TexAgs Radio, The Louie Bellina Show, or Chip Howard? Look inside the Pod Center at zone1150.com. Don't miss a single rant, guest, or moment. You can download or subscribe to any and all of your favorite shows inside the Pod Center at zone1150.com. There's also a special selection where you can find select interviews from David, Louie, and Chip. Look up Zone interviews inside the Pod Center at zone1150.com. Download or subscribe, but don't miss out. Check out the Pod Center at zone1150.com.
Hey everybody, TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We're going to talk to my guy, John Harris, here in a second from the Texans sideline reporter and, of course, footballtakeover.com. I'm going to read this message. We were going through the Coach of the Year in the SEC, what our opinions were with OB, and I want John Harris to give me his opinion. And I said Kirby Smart because what they did this year, I mean, you can't argue with being undefeated and beating everybody on your schedule even after losing everybody. Again, it's an opinion, guys. I chose Kirby Smart, and I said Josh Heupel would probably be my second choice. And I think BK should be in the conversation, no doubt about it. But the reason I didn't put Brian Kelly in my top two was because they lost to Tennessee, they lost to Georgia, and they lost to Texas A&M. So I picked the other guys. So now I go to John Harris and see, do you agree with that methodology of how I picked the Coach of the Year?
I absolutely do, Dave. That's pretty good. I like that. I like the way you did that. And I think one of the things that always comes with Coach of the Year awards, and I think it's really hard. It's interesting because I'm on the executive leadership team for the Bear Bryant Awards, and this always comes up with coaches like Nick Saban and Kirby Smart that have such great teams. And you think, okay, how do you assess the coaching job that particular coach has done with all that talent? And then I think you laid it out great because Georgia lost. I don't know how many first rounders it ended up being last year. And then they also lost Nakobe Dean at linebacker. I mean, they lost almost everybody and yet turned right back around, goes undefeated. They got pressed at Missouri a little bit, but other than that, there weren't a lot of teams that stayed in the game against Georgia, and they made mincemeat of the really good teams that they faced. So to me, I think it is Kirby Smart. I think Kirby should be the national coach of the year. I think there's some other guys that are in contention for that. as well. But I agree with you about Brian Kelly. I mean, LSU got hot. I mean, the expectations were lower because he's a new coach to a new system. He doesn't know how to say the word family. So he's got a lot working against him. So he overcame that a bit. But in the big games, they beat Alabama, yes. But you laid it out. They got hammered at home by Tennessee. They got beat badly by A&M. And then Georgia took care of business in the SEC championship game. So I thought Brian Kelly did a fine job, but I don't think SEC Coach of the Year. Nah, I'm not down for that. Now, I also have to take my bias away in some sense with Brian Kelly because as it pertains to the Bear Bryant Awards, he has not been very forthcoming or giving with his time, even though he has been nominated for the award many times. So every other coach that you mentioned and we mentioned has. So I'm a little biased too, but I think Kirby absolutely should be SEC Coach of the Year, and I think he should be National Coach of the Year. Right there, Sonny Dykes, TCU. I think Jim Harbaugh's done a heck of a job at Michigan as well. But I think Kirby, given the losses, personnel losses, and then they didn't miss a beat. In fact, they may be better this year than they were last year.
Talking to John Harris here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Let's talk about, I don't expect you to know everybody the Aggies signed on National Signing Day, but considering the fact the way their season was going, and I think they finished pretty strong, Johnny, when it comes to National Signing Day. They missed out on obviously Anthony Hill, which would have been huge for them having linebacker needs. But the fact that they were able to at least flip some guys towards the end and sign a very nice class, including Reuben Owens.
Yeah, Reuben Owens and Dalton and I talked about Reuben last week. I'm fairly biased to anybody from El Campo. They were in our district with Lamar Gonzalez many years ago, and we finished 2-0, knocked them out of the playoffs, beat them in a district championship game. But who's counting? But Reuben Owens is an electric player that you can use in a lot of different ways, which I love. And then making sure that David Hicks didn't go anywhere was big. That was, literally, figuratively, and literally. And I go back to, if you're going to have a surplus at a particular position, I think you need in this conference to be able to have it on the lines of scrimmage. And if you do that, you're going to eventually build a powder keg. Now, you got to have the guy pulling the trigger. And I think A&M may have found that guy. He's got to settle in and prove that he can be that guy for a full season. But I think Connor can do that. And I think once his play rounds into shape, and you get what you get from him, kind of, I don't know how far back people go, but if people remember Aaron Murray from Georgia, if you can get that sort of play from Connor Wegman going forward, I think A&M is going to be right in a mix with 10, 11 wins for the next how many ever years, because the talent level has certainly increased. So I think there's a lot of good working, but, when you can close, like you said, losing out on Hill, an athletic linebacker, okay, you're going to miss out. There are plenty of schools that are going to be going after 5-star talented dudes, especially at that position nowadays, because that's a position you absolutely have to have. But I think you'll be okay in the interim. Edgerrin Cooper is a guy that plays the game sort of like Anthony Hill does. But having guys that are game changers up front, my goodness, that's the biggest thing. So to me, having a guy like David Hicks in the fold, that, on top of what they were able to bring in last year, Shamar Stewart and those guys up front, Walter Nolan, those guys are all, throw it all together and you think, wow, that's building what Alabama has, where they roll out 3-4 guys in the starting group, and then all of a sudden those guys get a rest and the next guys come in and they're younger, maybe not as experienced, and you go, holy crap, there's no drop-off. And that's what you got to have in this conference. You can't have a drop-off between groups 1 and 2. And I think A&M is building towards having just that.
Let's talk a little playoffs. We mentioned how good of a job Georgia's done. That game against Ohio State, oh my goodness, that's going to be a fun one to watch. It's not often that Ohio State is an underdog, but obviously against Georgia they are. Your thoughts on that one?
I think that's a tremendous football game because I think Ohio State's got a lot to prove. And, they say, bowl matchups, and I know it's a playoff, but it's, a bowl game. But, bowl styles, the styles of each team, styles make fights, and they also make bowl games. And I think this is one of those because Ohio State, its passing game is lethal. And against Michigan, they couldn't stop Michigan's running game. And because they couldn't stop Michigan's running game, they got to a point where they were predictable. Now, they were also not healthy at the running back position against Michigan. I don't know what that health will be, but if Travion Henderson and Mayan Williams are both healthy, and you got Marvin Harrison Jr. along with Emeka Ibuka and Julian Fleming, well, you got an opportunity to really do something. But Georgia's front is going to be the best front even beyond Michigan's. And Ohio State proved it wasn't ready to really handle Michigan's front consistently. And I got a feeling with how many ever weeks did Kirby have? 5-6 weeks to prepare. He's going to have some stuff that C.J. Stroud hasn't seen on film and that C.J. Stroud may not have seen before. And I think that might end up being the difference. I think Stroud gets his. I think Stroud's going to play well. This is an opportunity for Stroud. This is the most important game for C.J. Stroud in his NFL evaluation. He's played some great games, but in the two biggest ones of his career against Michigan both times, he's sort of shrunk in the moment. Now he faces arguably the best defense in the country. All right, big fella, what you got? You want to be the number 1 overall pick? Go shred Georgia for 350 and 3 touchdowns and lead your team to a win, and you'll make everybody reconsider. So to me, this is C.J. Stroud against the coverages in front of Georgia, and it makes it an absolute blast. And again, I'm doing what everybody is going to do, and that is undersell Stetson Bennett and overlook Stetson Bennett, and that dude's just going to throw for 250, 2-3 touchdowns, probably run for 1, and lead his team to a victory. But to me, the most compelling thing and intriguing thing in this game is C.J. Stroud handling the different looks that he's going to get from the secondary, from the front of Georgia, from Kirby Smart. I think it's going to be an awesome matchup to watch.
John, I got a message here from David Edmond to ask you. As he says it's easy to talk about the top 3 coaches in the SEC, but for you to talk about the last 3. And it got me thinking, because I think we know the direction Dave wants to go with this, with the job that Jimbo did this past year. But I was having a conversation with my brother Alex, who you know, and he was being hard on Jimbo, and he was comparing him to what Lane's done, and that yada yada yada. Why can't we do that? And I said, hey, bro, I love you, but let's go through Jimbo's career right now. And we went through his first few years at Florida State, which were mostly 10-win seasons. And then his response was, well, he had Bobby's players. And I go, well, actually, if you look at Bobby's last few years there, they were like 7-win seasons. And then I said, look at what Jimbo's done here at A&M. 5-7 was terrible. You could put him in the bottom 3. Nobody's arguing that. But up until this point, it felt, even in the 8-4 season, that the program was ascending. This is the first time in Jimbo's time here at A&M that I feel like there was a downward spiral, right? And you can point at the quarterback situation. You can point at offensive line. You can point at the offense that Jimbo brought. All those are fair game, I think. I say all that to you that while Jimbo may have had a terrible season, because 5-7 is not acceptable, I still look at his entire body of work, and if you want to compare it to the Lane Kiffins of the world, it still doesn't even match. It's not even in the same region. Did I lose you? There you are.
Spelling. No. I'm trying to soak it all in. And I do agree with you, David. I think overall, Jimbo has been a net positive for A&M. I think this year was a disappointment for many, many reasons. Obviously, the expectations were so high that you thought, okay, take the next step. And I felt like after 2020, where they had, the Maroon Goons on the offensive line and they're pounded teams into submission, and you thought, okay, build from that. What's the next step from winning a New Year's Day 6 bowl? It's getting to the playoff. And then what's after that? Winning a national championship. Like those are the logical steps that you would think a program is taking. But then in 2021, it dipped. You're like, okay, but it's a dip. It happens. We're good. But then this year happens, and you thought, okay, well, is this a trend? Is this now heading downward? I think this is the biggest coaching year of Jimbo Fisher's career. And I don't know whether that's, big news flash or not, but because he's got to address the offense. How does he change it? Is he too stubborn to let somebody take it over? What sort of changes does he have to make? He can't get away from his core beliefs, yet he does have to reassess what's most important in this college football world and what's most important in this conference. Maybe it's changed. Even in 3-4 years, maybe it's changed. So his response in 2023, who's the offensive coordinator? How are they going to change things on that side of the ball? What's the players' buy-in at that point? I mean, how many transfer portal guys are there right now that want to get out and get a different opportunity? Well, look, you can say, oh, well, they're just looking for a new opportunity. I get that. I understand that. But they chose A&M because they thought they had the opportunity there. Something there is telling those kids, this is not the right thing for me, for us, whatever. Jimbo's got to change that. I'm not saying he's got to make it, come to the SIP sort of thing like Lane Kiffin or anything like that. But he's made A&M very attractive to recruits, but he's got to make the program that much more attractive to stick around and fight it out and become that program. So, and there are a lot of 5-star, 4-star guys that, look, let's be honest, they love being recruited. So that's going to be a tough deal. There might have to be some 2 or 3 stars that you live with that you're going to develop over 3 to 4 years. And those are the ones that A&M fans love. I mean, I think about, Caleb Chapman. I mean, the guys that kind of come out of nowhere that stick around for 3, 4 years, 5 years. They become, gods at that. Colin Gillespie probably doesn't buy a beer at A&M anymore. So I think there's got to be some of the kind of the gritty part too. He can't lose that. That's what makes A&M great. Is that it's not just flash and dash 4 and 5 stars. It's having the grit, the toughness, and the recognition of being an Aggie and how important that is. And I think that's got to return as well. You asked me the bottom 3 coaches. Yeah, Jimbo didn't have a great year. He'd have to be in that mix. You know what I also put in that mix? Nick freaking Saban. I think this was the worst coaching job. If we're going year to year, it's the worst coaching job I've ever seen from Nick Saban in Alabama. But John, they were 11 and I don't care what they were. Bryce Young saved their bacon on offense because the offensive coordinator is a dud. Defensively, Pete Golding couldn't do a darn thing with a ton of talent. They couldn't come up big in the big games. And Saban looked unorganized. The whole team looked unorganized. The number of penalties they would have in a game, I can't remember one game they had 17 penalties or something like that. I mean, it was inexcusable, the product that Nick Saban put out there for Alabama this year. So I would absolutely put Alabama, Nick Saban in that mix. And look, it's year to year, right? That's 1 year. He's been a great coach throughout his time at Alabama. And it just goes to show what he's built there, that team was able to overcome a team that was not coached very well at all. So I would put Nick Saban in that bottom 3 this year as well. The other one I would put in there, in the top 3, I know it's going to sound odd, but we didn't mention Clark Lee from Vanderbilt as a positive. I think Clark Lee at Vanderbilt, what he was able to do and how they were able to finish, I think that's a huge feather to cap. Shane Beamer, you could put in that top 3. Shane Beamer at South Carolina was excellent. I'd almost fight you on the fact that Shane Beamer, especially the finish, was better than Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
Shane Beamer was absolutely a stud this year. But in the bottom, yeah, Jimbo Fisher and Nick Saban, those 2. Then, Arkansas did not finish well. I think there was supposed to be this expectation for Arkansas, and they finished poorly. I don't know that Arkansas fans are all that happy with Sam Pittman. I don't think Sam did a great job this year. Last year, brilliant. This year, not as great. KJ Jefferson banged up a little bit, just didn't have that same defensive fire that they've had up front in particular. So, Sam would probably be in that mix for bottom 3, if you will. But I absolutely, Jimbo, unfortunately, but Nick Saban for sure. I don't think that Alabama team was coached very well at all this year.
Johnny, let's talk JJ for a moment. JJ Watt intimating, I don't think he actually called it a retirement, but the way he phrased it, everybody kind of figured he's calling it a career. You got to know him way better than I did, but, people always ask me about JJ, and I found him to be one of the most approachable superstars I've ever dealt with. There was a bit of, when the cameras are on, a certain thing, but I think all superstars do that, right? I tell the story about when my daughter was in that near drowning, that he was the first and really the only major superstar to reach out and check on her, and he would ask me about her. He never did that, on social media. He did it, on the DL. Super player, the best player ever in Texans franchise history, Hall of Famer. Just you give me some words when it comes to J.J. Watt.
Well, I'll tell my story, David. And I said I would never tell his story until he left the Texans or he retired. And so when he left and went to Arizona, I told his story. And this was, So it was before JJ got his actual shoe. So for those that know me a little bit, my son Jack has high functioning autism. He has Asperger's. And so things are tough. Some neurological things are tough. And one of them is actually holding a pencil. Jack's writing, you can't, it looks like one big jumbled word when he writes because he has a hard time holding a pencil. He also has a hard time because of that, tying his shoes. And so for years, he wore Crocs. And the Crocs really hurt his back. And so we were like, man, we got to find a pair of shoes. So we went to the academy one day, and I was like, man, how do I find a pair of shoes that are easy for Jack to put on by himself? Because tying his shoes, he can't do it. The way his hand, just neurologically can't do it. So I go back to the shoes and I find a shoe, and it's JJ's shoes, at least the one before, his shoes. It was the one that he was promoting for Reebok, and it was the Reebok pump shoe, but it was a laceless shoe. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Are you kidding me? I got to tell him about this. We put the shoes on. Jack wore them for 4 or 5 years. I mean, it was the pair of shoes he wore everywhere. So I was like, I got to tell JJ. So it was at a time of the year where they were out of the building, but I was like, I got to relay this story to somebody who knows him. So Amy Palcic, who is our PR director, kind of handled all of JJ's news. I said, Amy, I got to tell you a funny story. So I tell her the story. She goes, oh my God, I got to tell him. He'll love that story. So it was probably 2 weeks after that. Amy called me down to her office and she said, hey, I have something for you. Well, not for you, but come get it. I was like, okay. I walked down and she points at this box, and it's a big box. She says, that's for Jack. And I said, what? And she said, that's from JJ for Jack. So JJ had called his Reebok rep after Amy had told him the story and sent half a dozen pair of the Reebok pump shoes along with shirts, warm-ups, joggers, socks, everything from Reebok for Jack. And I brought it home, and I was in tears. I mean, I'm in tears right now telling the story. And I was floored. I was like, why? I just didn't know what to say. I was speechless. And so I brought it home, and Jack had a hard time. Like, this is for me? Like, yeah, Jack, from JJ? I was like, yes, Jack. Like, he just didn't understand it. And he was but once I kind of told him the story, he was so thankful. And I said, Jack, I want you to do something that's difficult. I want you to write him a thank you. And Jack said, yes. He wrote him this thank you. And I saw JJ, and I said, JJ, I can't, thank you enough. And he goes, oh, man. He goes, no problem. It was a pleasure. And so I said, my son wrote this. And he goes, John, I know how hard that was for him to do it. Please tell him I love him and I thank him. And it was incredible, man. It was that was him. And he did that to everybody. I mean, he had never met Jack in his life. And yet he knew me. And that was the only reason that he did it, was to help Jack out. And Jack, that was in 2015. He's got one pair of those shoes left that he still wears. 7 years later, he still wears them. And, my God, shoes are expensive. It saved us, a few $100s along the way. So I was very thankful for that. But the way that he helped everybody, I mean, we all saw the player, man. We all saw the player. But the person he was a heart of gold, man. I mean, he is what I tell people. A lot of people from Wisconsin, a lot of people think of Wisconsin are kind of weirdos and all that. But people in Wisconsin, the true good ones, are like him. And I'm from Wisconsin. I'd like to think I'm like him, but I don't know that anybody will ever be like him. And his career is incredible. And I hope that he has his day where he signs his contract with Houston. We celebrate him. We talk about all these stories and share a beer with him and cry a little bit, laugh a little bit, because he's the greatest I've ever seen. And he's the greatest I've ever been around. He's one of the greatest people I've ever met.
Johnny, I'm way late for a break, but that story was so good. Got a text message saying I'm crying driving, listening to this story. So I'm so happy you shared that with us. I will ask you this, if you can, in a minute or less. And the only reason I thought it was important was because Ed Reed yesterday gets the Bethune-Cookman head coaching job. Amazing career. Terrible run with the Texans. Did you have any, I forget, were you the sideline reporter when he was there, or were you still 15-6? I can't even remember.
No, I was the next year in 2014, which was J.J. Watt's great year. So, head to Bethune-Cookman is going to be interesting. It's interesting because last night at Texas Bowl, Texas Bowl luncheon or chairman's reception, Robert Brazile, who went to Jackson State, got a call from Ed Reed asking about Jackson State and whether Robert Brazile would push Ed Reed for the Jackson State job, but Jackson State was already on to their guy. So Robert Brazile was like, is he going to go coach? And then today finds out, yeah, Bethune-Cookman is going there. So we'll see. I mean, I think it really worked for Deion at Jackson State, so we'll see what Ed does at Bethune-Cookman. It's going to be interesting.
Johnny, happy holidays, my friend. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas, all the good stuff, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely, brother. Love you. Love the Ags. We'll talk to you soon, brother.
Talk to you, man. Send my best to Jack, too, man. Love that story. Great story. All right, we're going to hit a break here. We'll come back. That had to go long because that story was fantastic. We'll short segment, then Logan Lee. It's TexAgs Radio.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. The Brazos County Health District is distributing free rapid COVID-19 home tests Wednesday and Thursday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Friday from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Supplies are limited to 2 boxes per person. Businesses and other not-for-profit community organizations should contact the health district to obtain larger quantities as available. Parents of 3 to 4-year-olds, do you want to help your child excel in kindergarten? You can with the Hippie program. Email hippie@tamu.edu for more information on this free program. Toastmasters International has helped millions of people become more confident communicators, public speakers, and leaders. The Bryan Club meets every Thursday from noon to 1 at the Mounts Library. The bowl season on the Zone is brought to you by Hungry Howie's. The cotton, orange, sugar, rose, peach, fiesta, and more can all be heard on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
You know us through the Aggie Ring and our work helping current and former students. You also know that we work to uphold our traditions and help bring Aggies together around the world. We are the Association of Former Students, and it's our mission to provide resources, support programs, and cultivate the experiences that you know and love. But have you ever stopped and wondered why? Why does the association support Texas A&M and Texas Aggies? Why are we always here, there, and everywhere for the Aggie Network? Why do we tirelessly work to ensure that the Aggie experience is both unforgettable and life-changing? Well, you may be surprised to learn that the answer to why is as unique as your own Aggie story. That's why we created IamTheWhy.com, a place for shared Aggie stories and unique perspectives. It's where you can hear the why, see the why, and discover why Aggies like you are the why. Visit IamTheWhy.com today.
Sport is something that influences many of our lives, but can you really translate the latest scientific findings into practical application?
The Sidney and J.L. Huffines Institute for Sports Medicine and Human Performance exists specifically for that purpose.
Our weekly podcast text articles and Human Performance Minutes aim to bridge the gap between research and common knowledge.
Visit us online at huffinesinstitute.org or download our mobile application, now available on iTunes and Google Play.
Hi, popular sports talk host Chip Howard here, wishing you could take as much time off from your job as I do mine. Be that as it may, I'll be out until January 3rd. In the meantime, continue to patronize my sponsors like Decker Financial, West Webb Law, Brazos Valley Floor and Design, and the Dollar Floor Store. In the words of Principal Skinner, have a safe and productive holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year from your sports talk pal at the Zone.
Bienvenidos, TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. That story from John Harris was, I've heard it before, but such a, JJ came to, I wasn't here when he came, but he hung out at TexAgs Studios one evening, I think with Lek and Luch, and just love that dude. Great player. There's certain things that he would do, for camera, but he also was very genuine and high-five kids all the time and made them feel real special. Not all superstars do that, and JJ is one of the. I've gotten to cover some very cool dudes. I've told you about the Astros guys, but JJ's in that same category and very special to the city of Houston and to the NFL. Let's go back to Kay Nagley at the News and Social Center. We got not a text, it's a chat on the TexAgs chat.
Yes, it says, from a personal standpoint, or from ag engineering, from a personal standpoint, not many questions on offense. If we make the right OC hire, could catch lightning in a bottle. He adds, but we're 2 moves away from feeling great about the offense. OC who can spruce up the scheme and adding one more wide receiver to finish the starting lineup.
So on that, like John was bringing up the transfers and how Jimbo's got to get a handle on that. I am not as worried about the transfers because a couple of those are guys that were not on the team anymore, all right? So when we're talking about 5-star guys, for the most part, the guys who are leaving were either kicked off or weren't really playing, right? And A&M doesn't have a bowl game, so it gives guys an opportunity to leave early. There's some that want to play in that bowl game, and we'll see next week how many hit the portal at that point. And hopefully A&M, who's only added one guy, can add some guys from the portal because they need some help from a numbers perspective. All that being said, if again, there's a lot of ifs because we don't know anything. We don't know jack. If they get the OC hire correct, and if guys develop the way I think that they will, I think the offense will be, again, they don't have to be 1,000 times better. Just get me in the middle. I want to see top 20 offense. I really do. I want to see a top 10 offense. But I'm just saying from where they were, if you move up to the 60th ranked offense in the country, scoring 3 to 7 more points a game, which I know may not seems like a big, they could have done it this year. They didn't. Now we're talking. The defense, I have major questions about the linebacker spot. How can you not have questions about it? But hopefully year 2 of DJ Durkin is like what we saw in year 2 of DJ Durkin or Ole Miss. Hopefully that's what we see. All right, we'll continue that dialogue, but I do want to turn our attention to some basketball when we come back with Logan Lee. Right now, we are talking about the Association of Former Students. They've been around for over 140 years, and your financial gifts have inspired them to help out Aggies all around the world. You are here, you are there, you are everywhere with the Association of Former Students. The Aggie Network is so strong, and they have spotlighted that, and they spotlighted individuals, and you can spotlight yourself, to be honest with you, by going to IamTheWhy.com, because you are their why. All you Aggies all around the world, you're the reason that the association exists, and they do what they do to give back to Aggies everywhere. So I encourage you to check out IamTheWhy.com, where you can see these collection of stories about Aggies all around the world, their lens, their times, and their perspective of being an Aggie. Upload your story as well. IamTheWhy.com. Again, that is IamTheWhy.com. It is the Association of Former Students.
You never know who might stop by TexAgs Radio. Jimbo, Schloss, Buzz, Ross. It's TexAgs Radio. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 11 on The Zone.
Here's Brad Beard of Intercon.
As the old saying goes, if your only tool is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. At Intercon, we have a full toolbox to meet your window needs. Perhaps your home is ready for a full retrofit to vinyl windows. This full replacement option beautifies your home while improving thermal efficiency, noise reduction, and dust penetration. On the other hand, your existing windows may just need some maintenance. The glass in your existing windows may be replaced, in many cases upgraded to more efficient options. The mechanism in your windows can be replaced to allow the window to operate more smoothly. Maybe you just need solar screens on some windows to eliminate hot spots in your home that tax the air conditioning system and make some rooms unlivable. With the breadth and depth of Intercon's knowledge and product offering, we can find the solution that meets your needs and budgetary constraints. Trust your friends at Intercon to understand your needs and use the best tool for the job.
Whether you have new construction or an existing home, let the fine folks from Intercon help your home energy efficiency year-round. Call Brad Beard of Intercon today at 823-3639. That's 823-3639.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and Aggie broadcast sponsors, Pioneer Steel, Rudy's Barbecue, The Sleep Station, and Prosperity Bank. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Due to the Texas heat, humidity, not to mention the multiple hail and windstorms, most roofs don't last their full lifetime. But since 2006, AmeriStarRoofing.com has been helping Texans protect their homes from age and storm-related damages, and they have multiple adjusters on staff working directly with your insurance company to ensure that you get the coverage you need to make your home look new again. Call Ameristar Roofing now to schedule your free roof inspection, 979-446 9874. AmeriStarRoofing.com.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Bill Parcells would say this to me, Herm, all the time about guys. He would point to a guy. You know how coaches are. Y'all point to a guy on the practice field, go over there and tell a player, say, see this guy right here? Always something with him. It's just always something. Nothing good happens for him. He's right there to pick up the fumble, but the other guy dives in front of him. The ball thrown right to him, he drops it. Interception, pick six, going the other way, he can't hold on to it. Always something. And that's kind of Anthony Davis. It's just always something.
I'm a Laker fan. This is hard to watch, man. This is hard to watch.
Yeah, I think he's injured, though, Coach.
I hope he is. So you're saying he's Dr. Cotton?
What is Dr. Cotton, for those who don't know? I want to know.
Real soft.
Just kind of always something. And he's talented. I mean, this guy has so much talent, and I've always said this. Sometimes talent can be a curse.
Spend your mornings with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor. Mornings from 5 to 8 here on The Zone.
Being beat up and battered around, being sent up and I've been shot.
And we're back. It is TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate everybody listening in. As we break down a little basketball this segment, let's go straight to the hotline. We are joined by Logan Lee. Logan, good morning, sir.
How are you doing, Nuño? How's everything going?
Good, man. Where are you in your travels right now? Are you in far Texas? Where are you?
We are split up. I am in San Antonio. Katie is actually driving back to College Station right now. She's about to travel with the women's team out to South Carolina and do their radio broadcast for the show, and then me and the kids will be back in town tomorrow afternoon.
All right, man. So how was it? Good week or so?
Yeah, it's been some good time off. Much needed time with family and in-laws and Christmas and everything that goes along with it. So we're enjoying it, but I can't wait to be back and be actually on a schedule and get these kids back on a schedule.
Hey, so from a basketball perspective, look, man, like they're 7-5. I think they can beat anybody. They can lose to anybody. I guess this is who A&M is this year, and they got an uphill climb, don't they?
Yeah, there's no question there's an uphill climb. Even before the Wofford game, I would have said, yeah, they can walk in the gym and have a chance to beat anybody. I don't think that's the case right now. I think they're still working to get to that level. They've got some things to work out. They've got some things to change and fix and keep improving upon. They have the personnel to beat anybody right now, but I don't think they have the consistency, and I don't think they have flow and rhythm that they need. They haven't put together 40 minutes yet that has been just overly impressive, but they've put together spurts that you say, gosh, if they can do that, they can do that for 40 minutes, they can beat anybody, but they haven't shown us that they can do that for 40 minutes. Right now, it's just to win the next game. Win the next game that comes along, and that's all they can do right now is win the next game, because they are behind the eight ball when it comes to not winning big games in their non-conference schedule, and the SEC looks good right now, so they'll have a chance to win some big games, get some quad one wins, and if they can do that, make the selection committee have a tough decision at the end of the year.
Yeah, that's in my mind, so far away, and so many things have to happen, and they haven't shown me enough to make me think that can happen. All that being said, Logan, what I was impressed by yesterday was when they fell behind, 27-12, whatever it was, they didn't panic. They just went to work, and Buzz called a timeout. They went to a full-court press, and they changed the tempo of the game. That, to me, was the most impressive part of chipping away.
Absolutely. We've talked about the fact that they haven't been able to adjust in games. They've needed a day or two to adjust and fix the problems, and the fact that they could change the tempo, change the course and the direction of the game within the game was a really good sign. I think one guy that doesn't get enough praise, and the one guy that really turned the tide yesterday, is Andre Gordon. when he came in with, I think it was 8 minutes and 47 seconds or something like that left in the first half. That's when A&M went on a 16-6 run. They finished out a 16-6 run to end the half, and they brought it within, I think it was 5 points or 4 points at halftime. His play wasn't just standing in the stat sheet, but he was a leader on the court. He was a calming presence on offense. I don't even know if he took a shot in the game, but he slowed everything down. He didn't force anything. He got up in whoever was guarding the ball at the top of the key when they went into ISO, and he got up in them and he put his nose on the opponent's belly button, and he stayed there. And I thought until that point, Northwestern State was able to do whatever they wanted to do in those ISO situations and create havoc on A&M's defense. When Andre Gordon got in there and he got up in him and he shut him down a couple of times, that gave the rest of the A&M team confidence, saying, oh, wait, this is what we're supposed to do. This is what it's supposed to look like. And then Dexter Dennis did the same thing. And then Boots did the same thing. And so I think Andre Gordon was the catalyst to turning that whole game around.
Man, I like him out there. He just is a heady player. I also think, Logan, what we've seen with this team is the dangers of playing down to an opponent or keeping games close is what we saw yesterday. Even though A&M dominated the last 30 minutes of the game, the fact that a team that I think was inferior to A&M was hitting threes, and the kind of threes they were hitting kept that game close. So they were outrageous threes that good defense, they trumped the good defense. That being said, they hit them, so they were in the game pretty much late, and they felt like they had a chance.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Confidence is king. When you have confidence in your abilities and you have confidence that you can walk into a gym and beat your opponent, you're going to play 10 times better. Northwestern State walked into Reed Arena yesterday thinking that they were going to leave with the win. They didn't have any doubt in their mind. They didn't come in here saying, man, this is going to be a tough game. They walked into the gym saying, let's go get this win and upset this guy's season. And that's what hurts A&M right now is they don't have their opponents in a fearful state when they're on the road. A&M can build up to that point, but they have to keep winning games the way that we know they can, which is like what they did in the beginning of the season. 20-point victories, 25-point victories against the teams that they're better than. They're better than Western State. Put a 20-point loss on that score sheet and let whoever is doing the scouting report say, okay, well, this isn't going to be a cakewalk, guys. You better come to play because they're not going to lay down or they're not going to give up or they're going to keep up. Northwestern State didn't have any fear in their eyes when they walked in that gym. In fact, I don't know, it was right before the 12-minute media timeout. I remember telling Haney, go at him. You got him when it was at the top of the key. When you got guys on the other team saying, go at him, that means they think they're better than you, and that should not happen against the Northwestern State team. At the end of the day, they weren't saying things like that. So they walked into the gym with a bunch of confidence thinking they were going to win, and that's why they made a lot of shots. It took A&M about 12 minutes, legs away from them, and then from that point on, A&M was able to dominate.
Help me understand the Manny Obaski situation here. Only 3 or 4 minutes yesterday, and a guy that has shown so much potential, yet last year he would be out of the lineup for stretches, and then he played hard. He played really well. Then he'd be out of the lineup, and the NIT final comes to mind where he didn't play much of the second half. Yesterday didn't play much. How do you assess his role with the team? Is it just Buzz going with the hot guys or the right guys for that game?
Yeah, I think one is they've been trying him out at a bunch of different positions. It's hard when you have a guy like Boots at the same position. You bring a guy in like Dexter Dennis, who is a veteran guy, a calming presence, a defensive stopper that isn't going to turn the ball over a lot. And he has a lot of turnovers. They tried to play him at the point, and that I don't think you'll be seeing that. It's not. again, he's still developing. He's in a tough situation this year. I think you will see Manny play games where he has 18 to 22 minutes, and he really puts a stamp on that game. But those aren't going to be a night in and night out. He's going to be a situational guy because he's going to continue to grow and he's going to continue to develop with this system. But right now, he's only going to be that situational guy. And this is just my opinion moving forward. Buzz may have different plans for him, but I see him as, they're going to have an 8-guy roster. I think they might have a 9-guy roster. The 6 and 7 guys are going to be playing anywhere from 12 to 16 minutes to 18 minutes. The 8 and 9 guys, they're going to be, you may see them get 4 or 5 minutes a game. You may see them get 15 minutes a game, but those are going to be, that's just the role right now. Until everything else is more solidified and they can come down with a good rhythm, that's just what you're going to see.
Talking to Logan Lee here on TexAgs Radio. Let's talk Boots. He's not hitting a lot of shots, but man, he is smooth going to the basket.
him and Henry Coleman. I think both of them, Henry was 8 of 13. Boots was 8 of 10, 0 of 1. So really from inside the arc, Boots was 8 of 9. They made 13 of 13 from the free throw line combined. Boots had 21 points and 10 rebounds, a double-double for him. Henry had 7 rebounds to add to that. So those two guys were awesome. I think Boots, like you said, he's just smooth. He doesn't really force a lot. He gets the right spot at the right time. He makes the right play. Henry's just a bull in a china cabinet. He's just strong. He pushes people around and he makes his presence known in the paint. I like the combination of those two guys, but Boots is, with Andre Gordon's confidence out on the floor, I think Boots got tremendously better. And that's what they've been needing. We talked about Boots being not the leader of the team, but a leader by example. He needed that vocal presence in Andre Gordon last night to then allow him to just break out and do his own thing.
How about Dexter Dennis is a guy that he is struggling to score. That being said, I love him on the floor. He definitely brings something, but he is not scoring.
Yeah, like we said, I think it was after the first practice that I watched. He walked out of the locker room, and I felt his confidence. I felt his presence as soon as he walked out there because he talked to everybody. He knew everybody. He was messing around with, has that older veteran experience, and it shows on the court. You're right. He's struggling to make a shot. I wish that he could find a but you can't really take him off. Bucket. It may not come from him. It may come from him because he has shown that he can make shots, but you're not counting on it. But you still have to leave him out there because he's going to put the defender up in handcuffs and say, "You're not going anywhere." That's his attitude. His attitude is, "I'm going to go stop this guy," and that's what you need. If he can give you a couple more buckets, that's just icing on the cake.
Logan, we'll see you tomorrow, brother. Thanks so much.
All right, Nuño.
Later, man. Logan Lee there on the hotline, basketball analyst and just overall good dude. Right now we're talking Fargo's. So this is going to hurt when I tell you this, guys, but Fargo's is not open until January 2nd, which means you can't go today for that amazing special, which means you're going to have to wait and think about Fargo's and really savor that taste. And by January 2nd, though, they're back at it. So just hold on for a couple more days. Not that far. We've got New Year's here this weekend. And then next week, we're talking about it. You're there. But I want you to think about how delicious the food is and why Texas Monthly says they're one of the best 50 barbecue joints in the world because they're that good. They're that good. Thank you, Texas Monthly, for giving them the shout-out because it's worth it. Such a good place to go. They sell out on their specials. Don't order it now because you're going to have to wait, right? But as soon as January 2nd comes, get on those specials And I'll tell you some of them just so you know. On Tuesdays, they've got the rib tips. Once they're gone, they are gone. They're delicious. Wednesdays, they've got the chopped beef. They also have beef ribs. So you get it. They've been around for a long time. The food is that good. They take a few days off, and the whole city burns down. It's okay. They'll be back. Don't be that mad. It'll be so, so good. They're at 1701 South Texas Avenue in Bryan. Without a doubt, the best barbecue in town. That's their trademark because it's true. It is Fargo's. Go say howdy to Alan, Belender, and Maurice.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. The Brazos Valley Food Bank announces a $100,000 matching gift challenge. Make your donation by December 31st at bvfb.org. Make friends, test your strengths, and explore new possibilities. At Girl Scouts, girls can be themselves and let their confidence soar. Get your girl involved. Learn more at gsctx.org. The Brazos Valley Farmers Market is open in downtown Bryan Saturday mornings from 8 to noon. All produce is grown locally from friends and neighbors you know and trust. Did you know that the Student Employment Office at Texas A&M offers a free part-time job posting board? Visit jobsforaggies.tamu.edu for instructions on how to post your job opening. The bowl season on the Zone is brought to you by Hungry Howie's. The college football semifinal, national championship game, and more can be heard on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
We're here with Jason Rollo of Rollo Insurance. Jason, when you say the difference is real, what does that mean?
Let's take the term real, R-E-A-L. Rates, education, assets, and life. And here's what I mean. People think insurance is about rates, and although those are important, it's really about education of the product you're buying so we can protect the assets of people, and we want to do that for life. Insurance is about taking care of people, and that's what we mean when we say the difference is real.
All right, for more information, visit rolloinsurance.com.
WPI needs a service technician to diagnose and repair heavy equipment for their Bryan location. This full-time position comes with a company vehicle, insurance, 401k, paid holidays, paid vacation, and competitive pay if you or someone you know is hardworking, dependable, and looking for full-time employment in the construction equipment repair industry. Apply in person with Jesse James at WPI in Bryan, Highway 21 East at Marino Road. WPI, an equal opportunity employer.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
The college football bowl season on the Zone is brought to you by Hungry Howie's. You can hear listening to the Orange Bowl, the Rose Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, Peach Bowl, Citrus, Cotton, and so much more, all on the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM, all on ESPN Radio. The bowl season, the most wonderful season of them all, on the Zone, is brought to you by Hungry Howie's, the home of the flavored crust.
I know there's a lot of you non-rap guys out there. Too bad. If you don't hear this song and immediately want to bob your head and work out, then I don't know, you got issues. TexAgs Radio. Keep it going for a second. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Nick and Kay. Am I right? I know Nick is not a rap dude. That guy is not.
That's correct.
But this song jams, right?
Yeah. I think I'm going to move this song specifically to number one on my playlist for the gym today just because this is getting me fired up.
Like right now, you want to do push-ups,
yeah, like
don't
I
you?
just want to go run or something.
Yeah. Nick?
I mean, I'm more of a, we've talked about this, I'm more of like a rock heavy metal guy.
I'm
So
not
like
saying
this isn't fast enough for me or like
You
hard
can't just
enough.
bob your head to the beat,
Of
though,
course you
Nick?
can, yeah.
Does it
but
not make you want to like punch somebody or work out?
No, not fight anybody, no.
Does it make you want to lift weights?
I feel like I'm still coaching at Orange Theory when I hear this, so.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing, it just, maybe it's because I've heard this song so much.
This
You know what I
song-
mean?
There isn't, like, Eye of the Tiger can be on repeat and this song on
Awful.
repeat.
That song, awful. We've talked about this too. That song is bad.
Yeah, the world voted it one of the greatest songs ever. And
Well,
the song's
the world
bad.
is wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm right.
Well, I forgot. It's not Texas country enough for Nick.
I don't listen to Texas
Whatever
country
you
when
listen
I'm
to.
working
Let me listen
out.
to somebody nobody's ever heard of. This
You
is
can listen
great.
to Whiskey Myers when you're working out, like Frogman,
That's
Headstone.
I can do Frogman for like a little bit, sure. I can.
That's
Shane
too
Smith.
depressing.
It's about a Navy SEAL. It's not depressing.
I just want to be hyped up when I work out.
Yeah,
work out.
that's talking about like going to. Never mind. We'll drop it there.
Yeah. By the way, I can listen to little Whiskey Myers. I can. All right. But I'm just saying, when you hear Eminem and Lose Yourself, if you don't feel like, I don't know, like then you don't care about fitness, Nick. You're not Orange Theory. You're Sad Theory.
I guess. I haven't worked out in a while, so
Well,
maybe I need to listen to that song and it will.
you should join me and the
inspire
85-year-olds at the gym.
Sure thing.
You feel real strong there. All right, when we come back, by the way, I love you guys. All of you who come up to me and hear all my little side jokes and like, I heard you. Yeah, I still love you. Hug me and Billy next time you see us. That's all I ask. Both of us. Same time, group hug. When we come back on TexAgs Radio, Ryan Broniger, recruiting country. I don't know why I'm talking like this. It's got to hurt his throat to talk, don't you think?
I think so. It's just really intense all the time.
Does he talk like that, or did I make it up?
Nah, you exaggerated a little bit.
That was Olin earlier.
Yeah, that was Olin.
Roger. No, they didn't talk like that either. I don't know whose voice it is. I've got like two accents. I do like a Spanish-French guy, and I do the fake Bronny. All right, we'll be back. It's TexAgs Radio.
You can hear the Paul Feinbaum Show weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone. Presented by Polaris Fun Center. Paul Feinbaum is SEC Country, and Aggieland is SEC Country too. Join Paul weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone. Polaris Fun Center, where you can get a $500 rebate on any 450 or 570 Model A TV, or $2,000 cash back on a Polaris XP1000. Polaris Fun Center, where they sell and service fun, not tractors. The voice of the SEC, and you can hear Paul Feinbaum weekdays from 2 to 4 on the Zone.
Today, millions of people all across America are building a life in recovery from addiction and mental illness, helping themselves
and helping each other.